Hey everybody, this is Chris and we are back in Purgatory again. We still don't have buttons to do stuff, and apparently I lost where it says Purgatory. I'm going to have to get that back. So I've still got a bunch of the same stuff. I'm really kind of making this video more for me than for you because I need to see if some stuff works. Because last night when I hung this all up, it was not certain that everything was working. So I thought I'd come and give it a little try out this morning so I could watch it while I'm at work and be like, man, what the heck? And then when I finish work, I would be that much more willing to come home and fix it. So let's fire. Okay, so a lot's happened. First, I ran into that table. It was terrible. So this button here is the only thing left on this table. Instead of it saying, welcome to the jetpack race, because I was stupid and deleted that by accident. But when I press this, a bunch of stuff happens. Like a lot of stuff. Like, there's no rings. But not only are there no rings, but there's no, reset race button or leaderboard. I know, right? It's crazy. That stuff wasn't even there. Okay, so, yeah, there's scores, and, the couple of those were real. I've also got this timer on my display right here. You might be able to see it, but it says 0.00 for me. And it doesn't change. And it's really supposed to. And I'm at my wit's end trying to get it to. So I've crushed that race a bunch of times. Like, I've gotten scores that I shouldn't be able to get. It's insane. But, yeah, I guess let's run a race and then we'll come and hit the reset button and maybe do it again. So I think I've gotten pretty good at this, but I try not to count my chickens before they hatch, because that's how I end up bouncing all over the place and messing up. And that's how I lose 10 seconds in the beginning of a race. So that's a race that I'm not winning. In fact, I can't say that I'll probably ever win a race in the morning, especially while making a video and talking about it. Because you can't win this race if you're talking about it. Because you can't focus, really. Like, there's some really great scores. And I cannot beat them on a regular day, let alone beat them while, talking. Like, I'm, really doing badly. Like, super bad. Like, my player seems to be bouncing more than I used to. Like, I'll run into something and I bounce off of it, almost with jump force, and that's getting to be annoying. But I've gotten to where I'm going pretty fast. Boom. If you touch the ground, you stuck the ground. But that's only if you're using the boost. If you're using the boost and you touch the ground, you are stuck to the ground. So I'm just trying to get this race done as fast as possible, which I guess is the point. But it does not seem to be working out for me, and my timer has not moved. Now the funny thing is, the timer on the race timer that this number is referring to is running, but I can't get it to show up on my display. Like, I can get the numbers to exist, I can't get them to update. So I have 0.00 instead of whatever the time actually is. And that's pretty frustrating. Man, I bet you I did a lot better if I wasn't fucking talking. Because I am sucking. This is worse than any run I did yesterday. By a large margin. Like yesterday, I was crushing these. It was actually kind of hard to watch. Not as hard to watch as this, though. Those corners still get me every time. Yeah, I guess yesterday I really got a lot better, and in the morning my brain is not used to being that good. That's what he said when he was wrong. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the jetpack race, and I want to look at my stuff. And it says I got 276, which isn't the worst time ever. I don't believe, though, that it is enough to get on the leaderboard. Not that the leaderboard is updating really properly. It tends to do that only after I've left the game. It'll update, and so the new scores will be there, or one new score will be there when I come back. So I need to figure out a way to deal with that, because I think my scoreboard is relying on the idea that most people are playing games that turn off. And this one doesn't. This game is designed so that when it's fully operational, it's always running. There's always a server. So if I hit reset race, right now on my screen it says 225 checkpoints cleared. It took 276, 2265. Race in progress is false. Percent complete is 100.1249. Race complete is true. Restart race on click is false, but that button will make it true for a second. So I will go and press that. Now all that information is gone. So I could rerun the race now, because the fires are all back. And that's hooray. But I do not have a timer. My heads-up display timer should absolutely be working. I don't remember what it was that I learned about it last night, but I believe that it's because it's a non-static variable. Non-static meaning that it constantly changes, or is subject to change and should be expected to. So if I have a non-static variable, I need it to be in a non-static field, like update, so that it will constantly get new information. New information is what makes it so that it's not the same time the whole time. Like right now it says 0.00 because somewhere along the way that non-static information, or that non-static variable, is being forced through a static field, which means that it's not sending any new information. Once it goes in, it stops. So I have to find which script is passing that variable through the wrong way. And I have to relocate the section that passes that variable through and put it in the right spot so that it can update the whole time. Now, I could simply just write another time code and put it in another place, but then something still has to access it to get it back to the race script. So it's like, should I have two timers running, and then they're synced up with each other, but should I just have their own timer running and only one of them is the official clock, or should I have an official clock that seeds the others, or seeds all of the instances of the clock? I think I could reliably have more than one clock, and the problem is, though, that the time between frames is not very long. Although it might be longer than the fourth decimal place of a clock, or the fourth decimal place on a second, a 10,000th of a second. Yeah, it's definitely, my frame rate is slower than that. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. Or I think that would be an issue in that my decimals could only go up to 2 places and still be accurate, and that's only sometimes. Only about 25% of their readings would actually be accurate. So multiple clocks might not be the way to go with this. Man, I really wish I could, though. And these rings are not easy, man. You think they are, and they ain't. The only thing that makes it easy is that your head doesn't have a collider on it. And so you can kind of float your head through some of these if you're riding too high. But everything else is, you're stuck. Yeah, I'm doing real bad. This is going to be like a 290 run. I haven't had one of these since yesterday morning. I've been getting a lot of 238s and 237s, which is absurd considering that when I'm talking, I can get 290. Like, oh, that was a 274. Not bad. So I got a 275 the last round, a 274 this time. And you feel like I went pretty fast, like I did a pretty good race, but I did not. I actually ran a terrible race. I ran into everything. Over and over again, I kept running into things. So, yeah, that's the thing. Oh, I was going to fix that too. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do in here. But right now, my big concern is that this number doesn't change. It really should. Oh, look at that. My UI goes away when my hand goes through it. So I gotta figure out how I feel about that. Right. Oh, I have a body now. That's a thing that I can do, and I need to learn more about why I have a body now. I don't have any legs, but I do have a body. Also, my frame rate is a bit glitchy. Now, I could blame that on the fact that the race script is currently running, or it is carrying data, and it doesn't need to, so I can hit reset race. And all of my race statistics have, yes, they have changed. And now it's not storing race data. It's still a little frame rate droppy. So I've got some things to work out. It's less now that the race script is off. It's actually not all that bad considering what I've got it doing. If I go through one of those right now, it'll say wrong checkpoint. And I can do that. Wrong checkpoint. Oh no. It's the wrong one. So there's a thing I can do about that. Because, you know, I don't need it saying wrong checkpoint at me. Oh, it's exclamation mark. I'm not sure it's an exclamation mark. Weird. But yeah, so if I go down here, that used to be a turd. It was a thing, and I had to get rid of that. So if I click on this button and reset the race, well, that's supposed to go away. It will if I do this, because the heads-up displays its own separate part of the game. There, I went through a correct checkpoint, that went away. Means that it's not immediately triggered by all the things that happen for the race. So sometimes you have to trigger them yourself. Which means that I need to adjust the way that the heads-up display is getting information in general. Actually, let's think about that. If the heads-up display doesn't get a new signal based on the race restarting, which it really should. I mean, that's a given. Like if the race restarts, that should restart the UI. But the UI is defaulting to wrong checkpoint, which I understand in the code that's there. Its base state is the hide function. And the hide function is, or the hide command, the hide function, that command is basically just there to tell it, actually no, hide is, yeah. No, hide is supposed to be the dot. I see the dot, the little tiny dot there. See it? Disappeared, it's there. Disappeared, it's there. That tiny dot is what is there when it's on hide. So if I hit reset, the reset button is running a script that causes the flight checks, or the flight checkpoints script. Wow, it's hard to think about. It causes the flight checkpoint script to use its function that basically runs the restart race on click toggle, the bool that is on the flight checkpoint script. So the flight checkpoint script has a bool serialized field. So it's a checkbox that you can click that says restart race on click. Now, that restart race on click does a lot of things, but what it can't do is affect the heads-up display, unless I tell the heads-up display to be affected by it, which I haven't done yet. So that's a thing I can do. It seems like this stuff would all be really simple, but it's not when you're looking at it. When you're looking at it, it's like, what is the 9 millionth thing I need to do here? You just get so caught up in all the verbiage and stuff that you forget what it's supposed to actually do. But that can be said for lots of things. Yep. We got stuff. This is not a good video. This one is not public by any means. So the race script is having the problem that I don't have any. Wow, my brain really is garbage this morning. The race script is not resetting the headset. It is not sending a constant feed to the headset. So that means that communications from the flight checkpoints script to the heads-up display need to be made in update at all times. If it has to do with this heads-up display, it needs to happen in the update, because the heads-up display is a non-static thing. It is constantly changing, and right now it's being treated as a static object. So it's only getting information once, in the very beginning when it turns on, which is when I hit the load race button. When I hit the reset race button, it's not doing anything, because I didn't technically restart the flight checkpoints script. I just reset all the variables in there, so its start and awake were never called again. So I would have to put a thing in the restart race on click command. Excuse me. Put something in that click command that that reboots the heads-up display. Well, no, because it's technically already doing that. It's going back to this original state, which is the 0 and the dot. So, yeah, I don't know that that fixes anything. There's a lot of different ways to think about this. I don't like it. It hurts my brain. I wish I could look at the script while I was riding around in here, because then I could talk about it a little better. Yeah. So this is what happens when you press everything. It's nuts. I never did fix those willow trees. I kept meaning to. I'm sure my coffee's done by now. I'm not getting out of that pond by doing that. I really liked these. I like them less now, but not terribly. I mean, they're among the nicer things in the game. I do have to get rid of all the dudes that are standing on them, though, because they're probably causing some glitchiness. It's got these inanimate, empty bodies standing there. Yep, places are pretty. Stuff is cool. I could use some more houses over here, I think. Maybe put one over there. Actually, I never did anything with the rest of this mountain, so I could like put a flat here and put some on there. Oh, and I've got all this over here too. Yeah, I really do need to use that. Because that's like some prime real estate. You got the view of the castle. It's real nice. And everything can see you. So this is actually maybe, this is the best view in the whole place. Oh my God. This point right here is the best view in the whole game. Why do I have a wrong checkpoint? I didn't go through a checkpoint. That is a clue. I didn't go through a checkpoint. But I will. Apparently I did go through a checkpoint. Let us investigate. Hold on. There's no fire in this one. There is fire there. There's no fire. Weird. So, yeah, the one that has fire on isn't necessarily the right one to go through, even though the command that made the fire be on there was the command that was supposed to make that work. Oh my God, can I please just jump up steps finally? Or walk up steps? I can't even jump up them. Okay, so we are resetting the race again. Everything has restarted. And we will go fly through. Whoa. Whoa. My screen says that it's all restarted. That fire should totally be there. The race is now counting, even though there was no fire. So something is up. The fire's back now. Now I've realized something, that these are like a double press button. Like, it's supposed to have while you're holding it, it's one color, and then when you